you disgusted about your menstrual blood? Have you had an orgasm before? How is your relationship with your body? If every month you get that feeling every time you're menstruating, come along in this video because we will talk about our relationship with our body, how we can get to know who we are internally and externally to give us pleasure, orgasms, and all the good stuff that our body can provide. So come along. Welcome to Become Odara. My name is Ana Clara Tony, and today we're talking about our relationship with our bodies. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. Because when you subscribe, when you give me your thumbs up, when you activate all the notifications, YouTube helps me to reach more people, sharing this content all over the internet. So please subscribe, give me the thumbs up, leave a comment at the end of the video. I would very much appreciate it. I received so many messages on private from ladies who are disgusted by their own menstrual blood. They said that they couldn't do that experiment that I suggested in the last video. If you haven't watched it, I will leave here in the card. I simply put my menstrual blood in one specific plant for several cycles, and I watched that plant transform. It went from this to this. Impressive, right? And I thought that video would be controversial because people might be skeptical about the effects of the blood in the plant. But most people were actually disgusted by the blood. And I think that is a very interesting thing because most women will menstruate for at least 30 years. And every single month we'll receive our moon, our blood. And a lot of them are disgusted by it. And let me tell you something. I was one of them. Yes. I remember when my friend Lady suggested that I use the cup collector. And I was like, ooh, that's so disgusting. I don't want to look at it. And guess what? It was one of the best things that happened. And it allowed me to even seed my moon, collect my blood easily so I can put in the dirt, offer to nature. I want to share with you my personal experience with my body. And that started on my childhood. So growing up in Brazil, my mom would tell me how I have to behave whenever we were in public and also in the house. So I would never watch TV with my legs open in a comfortable position because that wasn't ladylike. I have like certain manners that I have to behave accordingly to be a nice girl. I would only touch my vagina, my parts, when I was taking a shower, but only to wash it, like was absolutely for hygiene purpose. So moving forward, the impact of this very short relationship with my own body is that during my teenage years, when I start my sexual life, I realized something. Other people that were having like intimate connection with me, they were experiencing my body as I myself have never before. They were having fun, exploring my shapes and my body, and I never dare to look into my body that way. And that's something uncomfortable to realize. And I only was able to develop a little bit more of intimacy with my own self in my young adult years. This story starts when I was 25 years old, living in Rio, summer all year long, and I had a boyfriend at that time. I realized that I could squirt. And that was a transformational moment to me because I have never even heard about this word before. It's not something common in Brazil at all to talk about squirting. And a lot of times when people do talk about squirting, they think that it's fake because most of our reference is from porn, right? So squirting is pretty much like the female ejaculation and doesn't necessarily mean that you're having an orgasm, but it can be a very powerful sensation because it is a little gland that it gets activated and helps to lubricate your vagina even more and gives you that sense of release. So it is an amazing sensation oftentimes, and it can be simply like a sensation, like a discharge other times. It depends on the women. So for the very first time in my life, I use a vibrator. And I had an epiphany. I was in my house in Rio, and I decided to explore a little bit and use that little toy. And I not only gave myself an orgasm, but I also squirt. And in that very moment, I had this epiphany. The sensation of squirting, it wasn't because of my partner at the time at all. It had nothing to do with him. It was in my body. It was my ability to give me pleasure. And that was so liberating. That was freedom all over me. That powerful experience helped me to shape my adult life when I actually start to exploring even more of my own self. So let's talk about my adult life. That's when I had some experience sexually, and I read a lot of books on sexuality. I recommend here this one because I've talked about Tim Ferriss often in this video, and it might be even like funny to say, oh, you were talking about female energy, female orgasm, and you're recommending a book written by a guy. Yes, I am, because this is very practical, and it's actually all the knowledge he got it from a girl, the lady Tallulah Sulis, a specialist in female ejaculation. It's in the 4-Hour Body. It's a book by Tim Ferriss. I will leave in the comments for you guys in the description. And he has 2 sections about the 15-minute female orgasm. I recommend you all to dig into it to learn more about your own bodies. But there are other books, of course, about female orgasm. The one that I came across, it was this one first. There was another one, but it's in Portuguese. I think that is something very unfair to blame on our partners, their inability to make us have an orgasm. Because oftentimes, we don't know our own body. And how can we possibly expect that somebody else is able to make us come? There is no way. How can you go like, oh, go ahead, make me come? And they will be like, what do you like? Where should I begin? And you don't know how to guide them. It's very interesting to notice that oftentimes, of course it's not a rule, oftentimes guys have a little bit more awareness of their body because they're masturbating growing up, having experiences, and they watch a lot of porn, so they know exactly what they like because they experience, and they tell like girls like, oh, do like this, do like that, I prefer this way. And we don't have that oftentimes. Women, we tend to just go along. And I heard other guy friends telling me like, yeah, this girl, she doesn't know what she likes. It's hard for me because how can I satisfy her if I don't know what she likes? And I think it's a very important thing to have this awareness of our bodies. And that's why I'm recording this video talking about something so personal, because I hope that by sharing this, other girls will feel empowered to also try it and experience something. On my adult life, one of the most amazing things that happened, it was very, very recent. Actually, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've heard about Kundalini meditation before. I've even done some Kundalini yoga. And it's funny because oftentimes I would mess up the words. Instead of saying Kundalini, I would say Kundalinguis, which is something completely different, if you know what I'm talking about. So Kundalini, it's a form of divine female energy believed to be located in the base of our spine. And you can activate that type of energy through a breathing exercise. So here I was at home one night, and I decided to do this technique. And it takes around 1 hour. If you have not tried, it's better if you haven't eaten anything, that you're hydrated, because it takes a lot of energy. And I will break down here how did I try this meditation. So you will be activating your chakras. We have 7 chakras. Each one of them is associated with one part of our body, and it can affect different organs and different states of consciousness in our own self. It's starting with the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra, the heart chakra, our throat chakra, the third eye, and the crown chakra. So in the Kundalini meditation, pretty much you would do a breathing exercise, which remind me a lot of Perla, my friend that I did a live with. I will leave in the cards over here. If you haven't watched that live, it's amazing. All the benefits of breathing to our life in general. And we're using here for self-awareness in this with this Kundalini meditation. It takes an hour to do the entire meditation, so you have to have some time. They even suggest that you do in the evening when it's cool and you haven't had dinner yet. So pretty much you set some time. You will need at least an hour for this 4 stages of the exercise. So here I was at home by myself. I light a candle. I text my husband. I told him like, hey, I'm gonna try this meditation, so I'll be off for 1 hour. And he was like, okay, not sure what that means, but I went ahead and I start the exercise. So the OSHO method has a specific playlist that you have to listen to when practicing the Kundalini meditation, because this song helps you to know the patterns of your breathing. So it's literally a song with instruments playing, but also like people breathing, which can be kind of different in the first time that you do. And that was how it was to me. It was very different and uncomfortable. And I'll share with you why. In these 4 stages, the first one starts with 15 minutes, and you have to access different chakras for around 2 minutes in a different pattern of breathing. And you can have your eyes open or closed. I decided to do with my eyes closed. And you'll be standing in a room and you have to shake. You're gonna shake your body. You're not gonna move your feet, but you're simply gonna shake. And I was doing that, shaking my body and breathing in a certain way with a song alone in the house. And that was so uncomfortable. I've noticed myself so rigid. I thought that I was doing something wrong. Part of the blame, I would say, that comes from my Catholic background. I thought about the Inquisition time. I was like, wow, if somebody knocks my door right now, I'll have a hard time explaining what I was doing, because I was lighting some candle, I had some essential oils, and I was having like a very specific rhythm in my breathing. But I overcome that. I continue doing this 15 minutes. I was doing the breathing exercise. And then the second stage, instead of shaking, you dance. Again, I was by myself in the house, in my room, with the door closed. Nobody could see me. Yet, I found myself rigid. I thought I was so uncomfortable in my own body, dancing, like dancing freely. And it was so weird to realize. I was like, whoa, Anna, what's going on? What is the big deal here? But I continue. I had my eyes closed. I continued trying to dance, trying to touch, all the different chakras, continue with the breathing. And then something very, very powerful happened. At this time, I was 30 minutes in the Kundalini meditation. And I realized that my entire hand and arm, my entire arm, was numb, and my cheeks were also numb. Now, if you had a panic attack before, you know that that's completely normal. It's just you oxygenating your brain. So you think that you think you're having a hard time breathing, so you breathe faster. And what happened to that is that you send too much oxygen to your brain, and that's the reaction that happens in our body. You just start with this numbness. So I knew that that's what it was going on, because I was breathing in a certain way. But I was sweating all over, and I felt this thing on me. It was an energy, really, that I had to stop. So I lay on the ground. And then Olga, if you don't know her, watch this video, started talking to me internally.
Oh, I see. mean, you couldn't do this. This was just a meditation. Wow, 1 hour and you couldn't do it, Anna. This is so, like, embarrassing. How can you be on YouTube talking about self-awareness and not even able to do this meditation?
And I was like, okay, Olga, shut up. I stayed laying in the bed, not in the bed, in the floor for a little bit. And then I realized that I needed to stop and write about that experience. And that's what I did. I went to my journal and I wrote 4 pages on the Kundalini experience. Because a lot of things came from that experience. My childhood, I wouldn't say traumas, maybe traumas, but my experience just learning my body, touching my body and seeing like, oh, this is so like interesting to feel, to experience by myself and with no like sexual connotation. Because of course I masturbate, and I wasn't masturbating at that moment. I was simply touching and being aware of my body. But I wasn't taking a dark shower either, which is the other way that I get intimate with myself. So I was simply like experiencing it. And all the blame and the guilt that the Catholic Church puts in your head, I was like, wow, I'm doing some witchcraft. I'm evoking spirits here, and that's what I'm feeling, and all that type of thing was going on in my head. To only realize that our culture had made us embrace for so long that we have to be ashamed or that we don't have to experience our body, it's something very powerful. To realize that and say like, wow, I'm part of it. I am one person who hasn't experienced my body as much as I thought I had. So this was my experience with the Kundalini meditation. I strongly recommend that you go in this journey of self-awareness and embrace one thing at a time. You can start with journaling, a shower in the dark. You can start with exercising, with so many other things that I've suggested here in this channel. The most important thing is that you do something that it goes along with your truth. Do something that will truly make you happy and closer to who you are. So that was today's video. I hope you enjoy. Leave your comment, subscribe, give me your thumbs up, because when you do that, you help this content to reach more people. I humbly ask you here for you to please subscribe to the channel, watch this content, share with your friends, share with other women who would enjoy this journey as well, because that's the Become Odara way. It's our divine connection with our femininity. That's you connecting with your female energy and being aware of your own self. Until next week,